hadith and the analogy that we always say, and that is that the parable of the believers is that of a body. That when one part of it aches, the rest of it responds in sleeplessness and fever. I also mentioned the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he said that the best type of jihad is a kalimat al-haq, the word of truth to a tyrannical ruler. Now, if you believe shooting, killing, kidnapping, torturing, arresting unarmed student protesters and teachers and other civilian members, if you think that's an act of tyranny, then you have a duty to speak up against it. You have a duty to do something. You have a duty to use your mouth, because I know you can do a lot more than hating it from within. So I conclude on this. There are practical things you can do. Speak about it. Use your social media platforms. Same way you've used it for Gaza and other oppressed Muslim groups and other social justice causes, use it in the same way. Speak about Bangladesh. Connect with them. For the influencers, if you have Bangladeshi brothers and friends and peers, ask them what's going on. Educate yourself a bit. And again, use your platform to raise awareness about this. My appeal to Bangladeshi diaspora communities is to speak to people of influence within your communities. Speak to those of your family members that are Awami League. We all have them. I say this, and I know this may sound crazy, that how did Dilly just describe all of that? And so many, at least in the UK context, so many facilities have Awami League members within their family members, their uncles, their dads, their brothers, their cousins, whoever it may be. And they're not always ideologues. They're not, it's just sheepish following. It's not even that they know the policies or the manifestos or the ideas of the Awami League. It's literally that I benefited locally when I was back home as in the union chairman politics, or I benefited from being part of this party when I was a college student or a university student, that I was part of the bribery system that got my application done so I can attain this position. You know, we spoke about Labour patronage in my podcast when he came on. I'm talking about an Awami League patronage, which is generational, which spreads way beyond the realms and borders of Bangladesh. Speak to them. Speak to your members of the family that who are within the police, who are within RAB and within army, and say to them that what's happening is wrong. It's dhulm. It's unacceptable. The country will not prosper like this. No country has prospered by killing its intellectuals, by killing its future thinkers and doers. Even the Awami League supporters, you accuse Pakistan, and there is truth to this, of killing East Pakistani Bengali intellectuals in their hundreds. What are you doing to the students? Are you not killing them in their hundreds? What makes you so different to the Pakistani occupier of 71? You are killing your students. You are killing the future doctors and thinkers and intellectuals of society. These people are not, the students I'm talking about, are not rogue elements of BNP or Jamaat-e-Islam. This is a lie. Sure, there could be elements and supporters of those groups within the said protests, but to discredit and to coin the entire movement as a ploy and a plot by the BNP and Jamaat-e-Islam is a shameful lie. For government officials to be speaking to the press and saying, you know, BNP and Shibir are basically dressing up as plain-clothed guys, pretending to be Awami League, paying people for assassination, money from London's coming. You know, one official, I forgot the gentleman's name, he was from the Ministry of Defence. She said hundreds of thousands of pounds are coming from London to fund the violence against Chhatara League and to attack police officers and RAB. We're literally seeing videos of AK-47s being shot at by Bangladeshi soldiers, Bangladeshi police, RAB Action Battalion forces, by plainclothes Chhatara League members. Are you crazy? We're seeing this. The world is seeing this. In the same way that Israel could no longer hide its lies, do you think Hasina could hide her lies? That time's gone now. Whether even if you cut the internet off, people will find a means and a way to get things out, right? So you can't hide it. This is not good for the country. Speak to people of influence within your family members. Speak to members who are part of the state apparatus. Appeal to them. Appeal to their... If you can't appeal, sadly, to their Islamic nature, then at least appeal to their fake nature of nationalism. Is this what you fought for? Is this what liberation was about? Is this what independence from Pakistan was about? So to go from one occupation to another occupation, right? Is this what it is about? It isn't. It isn't. Bangladesh is a Muslim nation. It is proud of its Islam. It is a country that fought for freedom and justice. It never abandoned its Islamic identity. It never abandoned its Islam. But the sad reality is that for the best part of 50 years, it's been ruled by criminals and thugs and political mafia bosses. That's what's happened. And there's been an interchanging of power between mainly the Awami League, BNP and military juntas. This needs to change. This needs to change. And quite frankly, shooting protesters is not going to bring about that change. And all that's going to happen is that you are merely extending the noose in which the eventual hanging of figurative, before people start saying I'm calling for the hanging of Hussain, though I'm sure many would actually agree with that on the ground with the death and destruction that we've seen. But you can't hide the fact that we're seeing police officers and, you know, state officials shooting guns. You know, there was even one video where a journalist told a police officer, can you shoot the gun again so I can capture it?
Yeah.
Wallahi, this is the state in which we've reached to now, where journalists, pro-regime journalists are saying to officers, run that again so we can just capture it. They're treating this as a Bollywood scene.
Yeah.
But there's over 1,000 dead. Tens of thousands injured and in prison. Political violence is the norm, but when we're having people reach out to us saying, no, this is something different.
Yeah.
You know, they won't lightly liken it to what Assad did. They won't lightly liken it to previous massacres, right? They are. That's because the situation is dire. Now, for those of you who are now saying, oh, but what about petitions and what about writing to your MPs? Do all of that. Do I believe that it would bring any kind of meaningful change? No. But do I believe that you should do it so you can stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jalla on Yawm al-Qiyamah and say, Ya Allah, I couldn't do this. I couldn't speak to an influential. I didn't have that tentacle of influence or reach or access, but I signed this petition. There's a change.org petition calling for the UN to disengage Bangladesh from its UN peacekeeping forces. Now, people will be wondering, why would you do that? Because Bangladesh and Hussain takes that very proudly. The fact that Bangladesh sends UN peacekeeping forces as part of that, you know, she sees that as a great pride. So people are now calling upon the same Bangladeshi army that's been given orders to shoot out unarmed protesters is not fit to be keeping peace anywhere else if they're failing to keep peace in their own country. You can write to your MP, but I've already explained to you, tough flack with writing to Tulip Siddiqui. But you got Rupa Haq, you got Rushanara Ali, you got Afsana Begum. These are MPs that should be speaking out, you know, because this is also the country of their heritage. Every Muslim MP should be speaking out. The 5 independent MPs should be speaking out. You should write to them. You should ask them to raise this issue in Commons. But what will truly bring change to Bangladesh, Jalal Bhai? Well, that's the question we have and ask often on camera. It's what our respective projects are dedicated to. What will true change come, not just in Bangladesh, but that region and the Muslim world as a whole? Will it come from alternating opposition parties that are guilty of some of the things that we accuse Hussain of today? I don't believe it is. Allah knows. But we have to do whatever's within our means to speak out for our brothers and sisters and to try bring about a nomadic change. And Bangladesh is very much part of that conversation. If you accept the figure that there's 1.8 billion Muslims, well, guess what? 50% of them are in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. Add another 10% to Indonesia. The vast majority of the ummah are in that part of the world, right? So we should care. We should care about Bangladesh as much as we care about Kashmir, as much as we care about the Uyghurs, as much as we care about Palestine. We don't have to keep saying that. I don't like doing oppression Olympics, right? I don't have to. We shouldn't have to convince the ummah, at least those who are at least religiously aware and astute, why you should speak for this. We're not saying that you will feel the same, because we will have, as someone who's of Gujarati heritage, the Gujarat massacre will have a different thing in your heart to, let's say, Kashmir would to a Pakistani, or the Rohingya issue would do to a Bangladeshi. We accept that, or the Palestinian issue would do for an Arab. But we shouldn't have to continuously convince people that the life and honor and izzah of the Muslim is the same. And on that premise and basis, we have a duty to speak out and do everything that we can, inshallah, to speak about Bangladesh just as